The record transfer curse. In August 2014, Manchester United shattered the British transfer record. £59.7 million for Ángel Di Maria, fresh off winning the Champions League with Real Madrid. 6 months later, he was a shadow of his former self, fell out with manager Louis van Gaal and was desperate to leave. Coincidence? Maybe. But the pattern holds. For decades, British record signings delivered. Alan Shearer justified every penny at Blackburn and Newcastle. Rio Ferdinand dominated at Leeds and Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy scored for fun. Championship-winning investments that transformed their clubs. In July 2006, everything changed. Chelsea broke the British transfer record. £30.6 million for Andrei Shevchenko, a newly crowned Ballon d'Or winner, and 175 goals at AC Milan. What Stamford Bridge got was 9 Premier League goals in 48 appearances, one of English football's biggest flops. The curse had begun. 2 years later, Robinho arrived at Manchester City for £32.5 million, another British record. 14 Premier League goals, 18 months, sold at a massive loss. Fernando Torres broke that record in January 2011 for £50 million to Chelsea, then forgot how to score. Just 20 goals in 110 Premier League appearances, compared to 65 in 102 at Liverpool. When Paul Pogba returned to Manchester United for £89 million in 2016, a world record, the psychological burden was immediate. Because it was the biggest transfer in history at the time, you get judged differently. They expect more from you because of the price tag, Pogba later admitted. Talented, yes. World Cup winner, yes. But every touch analysed, every performance dissected. The relentless scrutiny turned him into a scapegoat regardless of form. He won the Europa League and League Cup, but it was never enough. Andy Carroll became Britain's most expensive player in January 2011 for £35 million. Just 11 goals in 58 games before Liverpool sold him at a £20 million loss. Jack Grealish arrived at Manchester City for £100 million in 2021. Every touch invited microscopic analysis. Every match became an assessment of value rather than performance. Harry Maguire became the world's most expensive defender at £80 million in 2019. The scrutiny was brutal. Every mistake amplified. Every performance dissected. But something shifted as newer, bigger transfers arrived. £106.8 million for Enzo Fernandez, then £115 million for Moises Caicedo. Maguire's price tag faded from headlines. The pressure lifted. Form returned. A redemption arc nobody predicted. Alexander Isak arrived at Liverpool for a British record £125 million in September 2025. Early struggles have marked his start, with just 1 goal in 8 appearances before injury, though time will tell if he can escape the curse. His teammate is one of few who escaped the curse from the start. Before Maguire, Virgil van Dijk's £75 million move to Liverpool in 2018 made him the most expensive defender. Yet it produced a player who exceeded his valuation, transforming their entire defensive structure and winning every major trophy. Call it curse, call it psychological pressure. The numbers tell the story. Since 2006, the British transfer record has come with a price far beyond the money. The Manager of the Month Award. You'd think winning Manager of the Month would boost confidence. The data suggests otherwise. Since 2005, recipients experience an immediate 38% performance decline, dropping from 2.6 points per game to just 1.6. Performance analysts tracking these metrics reveal a pattern repeating with ruthless consistency. Exceptional performance earns recognition. Recognition precedes collapse. August 2021, Nuno Espirito Santo guided Tottenham to 3 consecutive 1-0 victories, including a tactical masterclass against champions Manchester City. He won Manager of the Month. 52 days later, after managing just 17 games total, he was sacked. The shortest permanent tenure in club history. October 2021, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea won 4 straight matches, scoring 14 goals while conceding once. He collected the award. His team then won just 4 of their next 13 games, unravelling after systematic dominance. March 2022. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal maintained perfect form throughout the month. 5 consecutive away victories for the first time in 7 years. 3 days after receiving his prize, Crystal Palace destroyed them 3-0 at Selhurst Park. August 2025. Arne Slot guided Liverpool to a perfect start as defending champions. 3 wins from 3 games, the only side with a flawless record. The Reds immediately stumbled into crisis, losing 4 consecutive matches across all competitions. Frank Lampard publicly acknowledged his superstition about the award in 2019, calling it a curse, before admitting his rituals as a player. The curse creates a performance psychology paradox, external validation triggering internal pressure that disrupts cognitive preparation and competitive focus. Sports psychologists identify this as confidence fragmentation. Recognition shifts mental bandwidth from tactical execution to expectation management. Statisticians call it regression to the mean. Managers win awards during unsustainable peaks, and natural correction follows. The award arrives monthly. Every 4 weeks, another manager discovers why recognition can become a psychological burden. Whether supernatural or statistical, they'd be better off not winning it. Newcastle United's poisoned dugout. Between 2007 and 2021, Newcastle United employed over a dozen managers and caretakers. Average tenure, approximately 1.4 years. Mike Ashley's ownership transformed one of England's biggest clubs into a managerial graveyard, where tactical vision consistently collided with organisational dysfunction. Sam Allardyce, Kevin Keegan, Alan Shearer, Chris Hughton, Alan Pardew, Steve McLaren, Rafael Benitez, Steve Bruce. The names cycled with depressing consistency. Bruce's Premier League career win rate of 28% represented the statistical benchmark of sustained mediocrity. Even Rafael Benitez, who delivered championship promotion through tactical discipline and minimal investment, eventually walked away disillusioned by structural limitations. The curse wasn't failure, it was systemic chaos. Performance analysis revealed a pattern. Managers inherited inadequate squads, operated under disconnected ownership structures, and faced psychological pressure from traumatized fan bases. The mental resilience required to navigate Ashley's regime proved unsustainable. Eddie Howe's November 2021 appointment appeared to follow the pattern. He inherited a team 19th in the table, 5 points from safety, playing the most uninspiring football in England. The difference? October 2021's £305 million Saudi-backed takeover fundamentally restructured the organisation's financial model and competitive infrastructure. Within 18 months, Howe's tactical framework and sports science approach guided Newcastle to Champions League qualification, their first since 2002. His performance metrics demonstrated elite-level consistency, systematic defensive organisation combined with progressive attacking patterns. March 2025 brought the Carabao Cup, ending a 56-year trophy drought. After 17 years, the poisoned dugout found its antidote. Sometimes curses require institutional transformation and organisational alignment, not just managerial quality. Howe proved that with proper structural support and strategic vision, even the most toxic environments can achieve competitive excellence. Liverpool's injury curse, the title defence that collapsed. Liverpool ended their 30-year title drought in June 2020 with 99 points. Virgil van Dijk played every single minute, 3,420 in total, anchoring a defensive structure that had become the league's tactical blueprint. Months later, their entire system had disintegrated. October 17, 2020. Jordan Pickford's reckless challenge tore Van Dijk's ACL in the Merseyside derby. Less than a month later, Joe Gomez ruptured his patella tendon on England duty. His kneecap displaced halfway up his leg. Joel Matip followed with ankle ligament damage. Then Fabinho's hamstring. Then Jordan Henderson. Trent Alexander-Arnold's calf. Diogo Jota's knee, Thiago's muscle injuries. The cascade continued until Liverpool used 20 different centre-back pairings across all competitions, a crisis that exposed every vulnerability in squad depth management and tactical flexibility. Van Dijk and Gomez ranked among the league's top 6 centre-backs for progressive passing, balls played into the attacking third that initiated offensive sequences. Their replacements, Nat Phillips, Reece Williams, midfielder Fabinho playing out of position, ranked 14th or lower in the same performance metrics. The statistical impact measured the psychology of systemic failure. Liverpool's 2019-20 championship campaign. 85 goals scored, 99 points. The injury-decimated 2020-21 season. 68 goals scored, 69 points. A 30-point collapse driven by defensive instability that rippled through every phase of play. A case study in how tactical cohesion fractures under sustained personnel pressure. By May 2021, Champions League qualification seemed mathematically implausible. Then Alisson Becker, their goalkeeper, scored a 95th-minute header against West Brom. The goal secured victory that kept top 4 hopes alive. They qualified with 1 game remaining, salvaging financial stability and competitive credibility. With their defensive structure restored the following season, Liverpool competed for every trophy again. 82 points, 2 cup finals, Champions League final. The mental fortitude required to recover from their initial collapse represents the difference between elite competitors and pretenders. Some curses don't destroy you. They become stress tests measuring whether your resilience and mental toughness can withstand cascading failure. Liverpool's answer proved they were able to rally the troops and at least achieve something.
The Chelsea caretaker manager paradox. Many of Chelsea's permanent appointments underperforms.
Their temporary solutions deliver silverware. The pattern defies conventional management theory, yet repeats with statistical precision. Roberto Di Matteo, 2012. Installed as caretaker following Andre Villas-Boas's dismissal, he orchestrated Chelsea's Champions League triumph, defeating Barcelona and Bayern Munich on their home ground. The ownership converted his role to permanent. 5 months later, they terminated his contract. Rafael Benitez arrived as interim manager for 2012 to 2013. He secured the Europa League title. Chelsea declined to offer permanent tenure. Gus Hiddink rescued their campaigns twice, 2009 and 2015-16. Both appointments yielded trophies or organisational stabilisation. Both concluded when his interim contracts expired. Meanwhile, permanent hires deteriorate. Andre Villas-Boas lasted 8 months. Graham Potter endured 7 months, despite £21 million in compensation paid to Brighton. Even Maurizio Sarri, who delivered Europa League success, departed after 1 season. The behavioural economics are revealing. Caretakers operate without long-term performance accountability, optimising for immediate result over philosophical implementation. Players demonstrate heightened motivation under short-term management, rather than the performance plateau that develops under permanent leadership. Chelsea's organisational structure generates a counterintuitive outcome. Temporary management often produces superior financial and competitive returns in comparison to the long-term solution.
Sunderland's documentary of doom. Sunderland Till I Die was commissioned to document redemption. The cameras arrived in 2017 expecting promotion narratives. Instead, they filmed organisational collapse in real time. Back-to-back relegations, Premier League to Championship to League One. For only the second time in their 139-year history, the first in 3 decades, they competed in the 3rd tier. The documentary captured ownership dysfunction, catastrophic transfer strategies, and psychological breakdowns that generated compelling entertainment but devastating sporting outcomes. Performance deteriorated under documentation. Playoff heartbreak, last-minute capitulation, inexplicable boardroom decisions. Even after filming concluded, the perceived Netflix effect lingered. Sunderland endured 4 years trapped in League One. The behavioural economics reveal crucial insights. Performance anxiety under documentation represents established sports psychology. Athletes develop hyper-awareness of actions, creating self-consciousness that disrupts automatic cognitive processes. Private failures transform into public spectacle, exponentially amplifying psychological pressure and financial stakes. The critical question emerges: curse of fundamental incompetence or curse of scrutiny-induced paralysis? The hubris of filming an anticipated triumphant promotion campaign while lacking organizational infrastructure created a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. The documentation didn't cause the collapse. It merely exposed pre-existing systemic deficiencies with brutal transparency. The curse eventually lifted. Sunderland secured Championship promotion via 2022 playoffs and finally returned to the Premier League in 2025. Currently performing at a level nobody expected, they became the first franchise renowned for documenting sustained organizational failure rather than athletic achievement. Perhaps the exposure and the accompanying accountability pressure catalyzed necessary structural changes. The Golden Boot winners' second season. Win the Premier League Golden Boot and you've achieved peak performance, a flow state where physical execution, tactical awareness, and psychological confidence converge into optimal output. The statistical regression that follows is inevitable. Mohamed Salah's 2017-18 campaign, 32 goals. The following season, 22 goals, a 31% performance decline. Harry Kane scored 30 goals in 2017-18. Next year, 17 goals, 43% drop in productivity. Robin van Persie's 2012-2013 season delivered 26 goals. His second campaign, 12 goals across 21 appearances. A 54% collapse, compounded by physical stress and injury vulnerability. Even Erling Haaland experienced regression. His record-breaking 36-goal debut at Manchester City declined to 27 goals the following season. The curse operates through multiple performance indicators. Opposition teams dedicate analytical resources to neutralizing elite scorers through systematic defensive schemes. But the deeper issue is psychological, replicating a flow state. That rare alignment of mental clarity, physical readiness, and tactical instinct proves exceptionally difficult. Every match becomes a referendum on capability. Expectation pressure disrupts the automatic decision-making that enabled peak performance. What functioned through instinct now operates through conscious effort. Two players escaped through continuous adaptation. Alan Shearer maintained 25 to 30 goal consistency via physical dominance and tactical evolution. Sergio Aguero sustained 20-plus goals across 7 seasons by constantly refining technical execution. Most Golden Boot winners become victims of their own greatness. Sustaining peak performance when every tactical system targets you while carrying the weight of extraordinary standards represents one of football's most demanding challenges. The Invincible's curse, when perfection becomes a prison. Arsenal's 2003-2004 season achieved football immortality. 49 games unbeaten, 26 wins, 12 draws, 0 defeats. Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Robert Pires, Dennis Bergkamp. A squad that redefined English football's tactical possibilities. They didn't just win the Premier League, they conquered it without losing once. Then, the curse took hold. Arsenal haven't won the league since. 2 decades of near misses, psychological collapses, and agonizing second-place finishes. The Champions League, the trophy that would validate their legacy, has remained permanently out of reach despite multiple attempts. The 2006 final against Barcelona, led 1-0, lost 2-1. Mental fragility exposed at the crucial moment. The cruelest twist? Players who left Arsenal immediately won the trophies that eluded them in North London. Cesc Fabregas departed for Barcelona, won La Liga and the Champions League within 3 years. Robin van Persie joined Manchester United, secured the Premier League title in his first season, the very trophy Arsenal couldn't deliver. Samir Nasri and Gaël Clichy moved to Manchester City and collected multiple league titles. Alex Song joined Barcelona and lifted the Spanish championship. The pattern became undeniable. Excellence at Arsenal, silverware elsewhere. The burden of maintaining Invincible standards created performance anxiety that manifested in decisive moments. The financial model shifted after 2006 when Arsenal moved to the Emirates Stadium. Debt management prioritized fiscal responsibility over squad investment, a strategic decision that sacrificed competitive edge for economic stability. Between 2005 and 2014, Arsenal won nothing before winning the FA Cup. The trophy drought lasted 9 years, while former players accumulated silverware at rival clubs. Mikel Arteta has rebuilt Arsenal into title contenders, finishing second in 2023 and 2024. The tactical sophistication has returned. The squad depth has improved, yet the Premier League trophy remains elusive, always close, never secured. Perfection created expectations that proved impossible to sustain. The Invincibles didn't just set a standard, they created a psychological prison where anything less than perfection feels like failure. The curse isn't superstition, it's the compound effect of unreachable standards, financial constraints, and the mental weight of history. Arsenal achieved immortality in 2004. They've been haunted by it ever since.
The relegation return curse. Promotion to the Premier League should represent triumph, a financial windfall, and renewed ambition. The statistics expose a darker reality. Norwich City hold the Premier League record with 6 relegations, becoming the definition of football's most futile cycle. Watford have been relegated 4 times, with 3 occurring immediately after promotion, a pattern that destroyed their financial stability and strategic planning. West Bromwich Albion suffered 5 Premier League relegations total, joint second most in history alongside Leicester. Their yo-yo nightmare was particularly brutal. Relegated in 2018, clawing back to promotion in 2020, then suffering immediate relegation in 2021. Burnley exemplifies the curse's modern grip. Relegated in 2024, promoted again in 2025, their 4th yo-yo cycle. The pattern is undeniable. Dominate the championship through superior resources, collapse when Premier League intensity exposes their limitations, and repeat. The curse operates through financial dependency. Relegated clubs receive parachute payments, approximately £49 million in year 1, £40 million in year 2, £16 million in year 3. These payments create overwhelming financial superiority in the championship. A club receiving £49 million competes against rivals operating on £20 million budgets. The advantage becomes insurmountable. Promotion becomes inevitable. The psychological trap closes when those same squads face Premier League reality. The financial cushion that guaranteed promotion becomes the very mechanism ensuring relegation. Clubs build squads too expensive for the championship, but fundamentally unsuited for Premier League demands. The yo-yo pattern becomes self-perpetuating. Relegation produces parachute payments. Payments produce promotion. Promotion exposes structural weaknesses. Some teams escape through strategic clarity and mental resilience. Brentford broke the pattern in 2021 through data-driven recruitment specifically designed for Premier League requirements. Before arrival, they built infrastructure around performance metrics rather than reputation. They prioritized analytical profiles over traditional scouting methods. They've maintained top-flight status through intelligent resource allocation. The curse doesn't strike clubs that accept realistic limitations or invest in proper infrastructure. It destroys those trapped between ambitions. Too dominant for the championship through parachute payments, too weak for sustained top-flight competition through tactical limitations. The financial psychology creates false confidence. The elevator never stops moving. The curse feeds on clubs that mistake championship dominance for Premier League competence. Harry Kane's 694 matches without silverware. Harry Kane spent 19 years at Tottenham without winning a trophy. He became England's all-time top scorer, 76 goals and counting, but failed repeatedly in tournament knockout stages. His individual excellence was undeniable. 213 Premier League goals, 3 Golden Boots, PFA Player of the Year. The performance metrics screamed greatness. The trophy cabinet remained empty. The psychological weight grew heavier with each passing season. The curse wasn't limited to Kane's performance. In April 2021, Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy made a decision that would haunt the club's striker. 6 days before the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City, Levy sacked Jose Mourinho, a proven winner with 25 trophies across his career. The financial and strategic decision prioritized league position over silverware. Mourinho, who had guided Spurs to the final, watched from the outside as caretaker Ryan Mason led the team to a 1-0 defeat. The opportunity evaporated. The curse deepened. In 2023, Kane made the logical move. Bayern Munich, serial winners, 11 consecutive Bundesliga titles, the epitome of German dominance. The transfer seemed to guarantee silverware through sheer institutional momentum. The financial investment was massive, €100 million plus bonuses, making him the most expensive signing in Bundesliga history. Instead, Kane joined Bayern for their first trophyless season in 12 years, a statistical anomaly that defied all rational analysis. Third in the Bundesliga behind Bayer Leverkusen's unbeaten campaign, Bayern lost the German Super Cup 3-0 to RB Leipzig in Kane's debut, a psychological blow that set the tone. Eliminated from the DFB Pokal by 3rd Division Saarbrücken in a 2-1 upset that shocked German football, Kane watched from the bench as his new club suffered humiliation. Knocked out of the Champions League semi-finals by Real Madrid in cruel fashion, leading late before conceding twice in dying moments. Kane scored 44 goals in 45 appearances. Individual brilliance, collective failure. The curse had followed him to Germany. The 2024-25 season offered redemption. Bayern dominated under Vincent Kompany, a manager who understood both the tactical demands of German football and the psychological pressure of elite expectations. Kane continued his remarkable goal-scoring form, 24 Bundesliga goals, positioning him to become the first player ever crowned top scorer in his first 2 seasons. May 3, 2025. Bayern travelled to RB Leipzig, needing 1 win to secure the title. Kane would miss the match, suspended for yellow card accumulation, his 5th booking of the season. Bayern led 3-2 late. Kane descended from the stands, desperate to join teammates on the pitch for the celebration. Then Leipzig equalised in stoppage time, 3-3. The title slipped through their fingers. Kane stood motionless, watching another opportunity evaporate. Bayern's title win was finally confirmed 24 hours later, May 4, 2025, when Bayer Leverkusen drew 2-2 with Freiburg. At 31, Harry Kane finally held a winner's medal. The weight that began in youth academies, that survived Tottenham's failures, England's shortcomings, and Bayern's shocking collapse. The curse that defined 694 professional matches finally broke.
The FA Cup winner's curse. For smaller clubs, FA Cup glory has become a poisoned chalice. Win the trophy and you may sacrifice your league status. Portsmouth lifted it in 2008. Within 2 years, the club faced administration, relegation, and a complete financial collapse. Birmingham City won the League Cup in 2011, defeating Arsenal. Same season, relegated. Wigan Athletic experienced the most brutal manifestation of this phenomenon. May 11, 2013. Ben Watson's 90-minute header defeated Manchester City 1-0 in the FA Cup final. Pure magic. May 14th. Relegated from the Premier League. They became the first club in history to win the FA Cup and suffer relegation in the same season. A scenario that mirrors the psychological casualty suffered by Birmingham City just 2 years prior, albeit with a different cup. The curse continued. Leicester City defied 5,000 to 1 odds to win the 2015-16 Premier League. They added the FA Cup in 2021. 2 years later, relegated. The mechanism is straightforward but brutal. Smaller clubs prioritise cup competitions over league survival, rotating squads and exhausting limited resources chasing glory. Fixture congestion creates physical degradation that manifests in a league form collapse. Financial pressures compound the issue. Cup runs generate revenue expectations, leading to unsustainable wage structures. When relegation arrives, the economic model implodes. The FA Cup no longer crowns underdogs, it demands sacrifices. In modern football, there's no room for fairy tales without consequences. Everton's manager chaos, the eternal rebuild. Since David Moyes left for Manchester United in 2013, Everton have employed 9 permanent managers in 12 years. Average tenure, 1.3 years. What Moyes achieved for 11 seasons has proven impossible to replicate. Roberto Martinez lasted 3 years. Ronald Koeman, 16 months. Sam Allardyce, 8 months. Marco Silva, 18 months. Carlo Ancelotti, one of football's most decorated managers, left after 1 season for Real Madrid. Rafael Benitez lasted 6.5 months, the shortest tenure in club history. Frank Lampard, 11 months. Sean Dyche, 2 years before dismissal in January 2025. The managerial carousel coincided with financial disaster. In 2024, Everton received a 10-point penalty for breaching Premier League financial rules, reduced to 6 on appeal. Then another 2-point deduction for separate violations. Total losses £124.5 million over 3 years, against a £105 million limit. Everton became the first club sanctioned under the Premier League's financial regulations, reflecting years of mismanagement and unsustainable spending. This is a clear example of strategic failure and institutional decay. January 2025, David Moyes returned. Everton sat 1 point above relegation, having won just 1 of their last 11 games. The prodigal son came home, signing a 2.5-year deal. After 8 permanent managers failed to replicate what Moyes achieved in his first spell, the club asked the only man who ever truly understood them to save them again. The cycle of failure may finally end where it began, but the structural deficiencies that led to this economic volatility remain a critical risk factor.
Every season brings new victims, new statistical evidence, new psychological casualties. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. The curses never stop. Neither do we.